Okay. I was asking some of the experiences that you have in your journey of investments. What are some of the experiences or observations that you have made in your journey of investments?
The experiences. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, hmm. We okay. As a family, with okay. When I say as a family with my husband, actually we are in the process of just putting a finger on one. But we've tried a number of things. I'm a businesswoman myself. I run a spa and a salon and also a nail bar. And with my husband, we've tried buying, putting our money in the treasury bill and yeah, something like that. And we are still just finding out what can we really do just to make sure the investment is something that is bring something more. Yeah. So we are in the learning process.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Akinyi. And yeah, we wish you the very best as you move. I have seen my friend Daniel Chebet. Maybe you can share briefly your own personal experience.
Uh, Thank you. Greetings, members. Personal experience. I'm sorry, my network may not be the best. Uh, I have the challenges that I have faced is in terms of the kind of investments. I've done a bit of investments in the agricultural sector, and it has its own ups and downs. At one point, the sector is very good, you make excellent money, and next time you lose a lot. There are challenges with marketing, there are challenges with the production, the quality of inputs, weather, and sometimes when the weather favors you, you make excellent money. And one opportunity can be, especially in the horticultural sector, with timing of the market. When the timing favors you, then the market is very good and you can make good income out of it. But now we have a lot of imports of agricultural produce coming from even the neighboring countries, and that creates a challenge.
Mm.
Yes, so those are my experiences.
Thank you for your observations, Daniel. We appreciate that for sure. And part of the reason actually also why we established the business and money online is because we come by those kind of experiences, and we thought rather than just stop at the talking level, we engage experts, and currently we have internal resource at Lan-x Africa who are focused exclusively on agribusiness, and we will soon be looking at how we can be able to support people more in the counties, and see how we can complement some of the efforts that other people are doing as well. Because we know if we do it right, then certainly these things will help us. If we continue doing it the old way, then certainly we will suffer, and we don't want to suffer. Let me pick the last one, Kenneth Amwayi. Last one, then we can look at the topic of the day. What are your observations, Kenneth?
Thank you very much, and a great pleasure to join the forum. I think looking forward to learn from the session, but otherwise I've tried to do business just at still the formative stages, and I would love to just learn from the experiences. I think shares, I tried shares at some point, but I think looking forward for more active investments and investments that can be able to empower the body of Christ in terms of creating jobs and the like. So very interested in that perspective, and just to fulfill God's call that whatever talent he gives us, that we need to multiply it. And when we are asked of a report, then we can come and say, you gave me this, and I've multiplied it this much. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, Kenneth. We truly appreciate that. And thanks everyone for your observation. I think by the way, we all make the same observations. And I think being in Kenya, we all more or less go through the same challenges, same bottlenecks, and that's why conversations are very helpful, so that we can be discussing and seeing how may we surmount some of these challenges. And we will be also in the online platform, because that one is continuous. It doesn't have to wait for twice in a month. In the online platform, we will be having these conversations going on almost throughout, where we are responding, people are discussing, and people are able to engage with each other, and people are able to weigh in on the discussions that are happening, or even create discussions, as the case may be, in case you needed to know what other people are doing, or what somebody is doing, or whether anyone has ever done this and what kind of experience did they get. Because the English person told us experience is the best teacher, but they never said it must be your experience. So we can learn from the experiences of others. So with that, allow me to share my screen so that I can have a brief engagement. Okay, I can minimize this and pull it up there. Okay. Yeah, so your 10-year investment plan. And let me tell you, the reason why we are looking at the 10-year investment plan is because we have also found that many Kenyans and many East Africans are basically a today people. We are a now kind of people. We work on very short term. And when I talk about short term, we are not even talking about 6 months. We are talking about very short term, 1 month or less, and at most 3 months. So a lot of people that we come by, I think almost 92, 95% are basically short term people. And when you think short term, then you cannot make correct decisions when it comes to investments. So we thought to engage and see what are some of the things that we really need to consider as we talk about a 10-year plan. So we are not even talking about a 5-year plan. We are talking about a 10-year plan. If you miss 10 years, then at least you can do 5. If you miss 5, then at least you can do 3. If you miss 3, then at least you can do 2 or 1, but don't do anything lesser than that. So that's what I want to look at. So these are a few things that maybe we need to consider 10 years from now, which is basically near about 2030. Will you have achieved your financial goals? If you were to think as a family, and by the way, some of these things are better thought at the family level, will you really have achieved your financial affluence? Will you have reached where you want to get to? 10 years from today, will you have gotten to where you need to get to? And this is a very loaded question. Every time I think about it personally, it helps to think a little bit more. But one of the ways to know is actually to look at where you are today and say, 10 years ago, which was in the year 2010, did you expect to be where you are financially today? I mean, if you were to look at your life, if you were to look at your life 10 years ago, did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you'll be where you are today? And certainly, I think a lot of us, we never expected. A lot of us, maybe we had, we hoped that today, 10 years ago, we will be very good, we'll be in very good shape. And then we land here and we discover, actually, we are not. We discover we are not. And we don't want to live the next 10 years like we lived the last 10 years. And that is part of the reason why we are bringing this conversation here. Then, do you even have an idea how you want to look like financially 10 years from today? Now, I want to let you know that, I converse with very many people. I ran a lot of trainings for corporates, for organizations, and I certainly know that very many people, very many, actually don't have an idea. And those who have an idea are not very convinced even about the idea. That is the sad part. They are not even very convinced. And that is why we are saying, guys, I think we just need to think about a long-term plan. And I've told you, do 10 years. If you can't do 10, do 7. If you can't do 7, do 5. If you can't do 5, make sure you do 3. And I think that that can be the lowest divisible minimum, if I may be able to say that. Okay, then what things do you need to change to be able to get there, and what things do you need to modify? What things do you need to ensure that my screen keeps disappearing? What things you need to, yeah, good. What things you need to get rid of in your life to develop and actualize your 10-year plan. So I think it is very critical. It is very essential that we look at some of these things and we engage to see or to ensure that we are actually on course and we are doing what needs to be done as we move on. Okay, so if we are to look at just a few things here, then like I told you before, generally life has very many twists and turns. I have said this many times. I cannot overemphasize. By now, you already know that no matter what you do, nothing will come in a straight and direct way. This one, I can authoritatively tell you that no matter what you do, there is nothing that basically will come straight. Okay, there are just too many zigzags. And sometimes, you know, if you are in business, and I'm glad a number of you are in business, you know, sometimes you can go tumbling down and you are trying to hold on to something. You know, those two guys up there, including even the last one, you're just trying to hold on into something. And then you discover things are just moving south, you know, maybe revenue, maybe profits, or even both are not helping you much. And they are all tumbling down, not behaving the way you wanted it to behave, and that kind of stuff. Okay, now, or sometimes it could be a wrongly appraised opportunity. You know, sometimes we look at opportunities, and a lot of Kenyans, I should tell you this, because I'm talking about you and myself, a lot of us are emotional investors. We invest with our heart, okay, not with our head. We invest with our heart. So you feel this is a good investment. You feel, okay, and you appraise the investment on the basis of feeling. I feel this is a good thing. Occasionally the feelings are correct, and if you, now that Kenneth says, you know, the body of Christ, maybe you think that the feelings are being led of the Spirit of God, only to discover things the opportunity was wrongly appraised. Okay, and now you are suffering because the opportunity was not correct in the first place, or sometimes it could even be a sickness that has come to wipe out your energy, your momentum, or even your resources, or all of those things. So the grand question that I always have is, when things go wrong, are they failures or opportunities? So when we plan for when we make a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan and things don't work out well, are those failures? Can we say we are failed, or we are saying we are learning, or we can say we have been presented with opportunities? These are things that we need to grapple with. These are things we need to engage with, and I'm not too sure how we need to advance. Now, but what is your dream? What are you looking? What are your goals? Maybe you are saying 10 years from now, you want to be able to drive a dream car. I'm just putting this because, you know, you cannot have a 10-year plan without a compelling purpose. So maybe you are saying, you know, you want to be driving a dream car. The other day, I came across this Mercedes called Mercedes Maybach. To be honest, I had never, I think I'm not very good with cars. I didn't discover there is something like a Maybach, and I was very impressed. It looked so slick until I was told the price. Then I just kept quiet. Or you want to do a Rolls Royce or even a Prado or a Lexus, whatever it is. So you need to be able to have a compelling goal that will be able to help you in terms of your planning, because you can't plan as much without having a compelling purpose, or a luxury or quality dream house where your family reside and your children grow. I saw this house and a wave of rebellion swept through my heart. This is a beautiful home. You know, I saw it and I felt rebellion in my spirit. I felt something sweeping me very strongly, and I said, "My God, look at this! Look at that! Surely, okay." And this is a human being just like you, staying there and feeling very nice. Suddenly, there are very many rooms, which is okay. You know, when you are blessed, you are blessed. There are no two ways about it. So this could be a dream. You are saying, yeah, yes, I live in a house now, but I want a dream home, you know, a retirement home where I would be relaxing and I get visitors coming to visit me, the children, the grandchildren, and everybody has their bedroom to stay in, you know, those kind of stuff. Or it could also be that you are looking at a dream holiday, you know, in choice destinations, and you are looking at a place where you can be able to go to every once in a year or twice in a year or whatever number of times because you have the money, okay? And then there are a host of very many other financial goals that you could be able to. So in brief, doing a 10-year plan, doing a 7-year plan, doing a 5-year plan requires strong, compelling goals, very strong, compelling goals. Because 10 years is a very long time, that I can tell you. 7 years, you know, if you want to know how a longer time it is, you just look at a 10-year-old child and you get surprised that the 10-year-old is already a big human being. So we are talking about a period that is not short. We are also talking about a period which is 7 years. We are talking about a period which is 5 years. So these are not short times. And therefore, we need to have a compelling purpose that can be able to keep us fixated into what we need to be able to do in order to actualize some of these dreams. Now, but so where do you start? I think it always helps to do a baseline, and the baseline contains your current financial position and consistency of money that you have. So basically, you are saying, what do I have? Yes, I want to get there. I want that kind of a house in 10 years. But where am I today? Okay, it is important to look at where you are today in terms of finances and looking at whether you are consistent or it is not consistent. And then you are basically also looking at your skill set and because that determines your earning ability. So you are saying, what do I have? Yes, what money do I have? But what skills, what talents do I also have that will be able to influence my earning ability? Because over the journey, you will suddenly need money. And if you need money, then you need to do a stock take of what you have and what you can be able to utilize to enhance your earning ability. Then we are looking at opportunities in terms of what you can be able to take advantage of. And I think these are things that we rarely consider. When you sit down and explore the opportunities that you have and which you can take advantage of, then you get very surprised that already you could actually be having a 2-acre piece of land somewhere. Maybe you have, like Chebet, some parcel of land in some place, even if it is up country. Maybe you have a plot that you bought a long time and you are not utilizing. Maybe there is an opportunity to get into, you know, small housing, even if it is beginning your own mukuru. You know, I discovered that these things called mukuru kwa Njenga, mukuru kwa Robert, or mukuru kwa Ruben, those are people who started small homes and they earn little monies, and as they earn little monies, then those little monies basically propels them to go to another level. Okay, and then the connections that you need to make success a reality. Listen, guys, when we work on a 10-year plan, and this is one area which I really need myself. So as you pray, you need to pray for me along this side, this item. The connections needed to make some of these things to become a reality. You cannot succeed on your own. That I can tell you. You cannot actualize your dream. Unless you had a very small dream, if your dream is a very miserable one, then it is okay. You might actually be able to succeed. I was listening to Joshua Selman today in the morning, and Selman said, you know, if you have worked for 20 years and you have just managed to build a house, then there is nothing to write home about. We just celebrate you because you have been an organized man, but we cannot even say God has helped you, because in any case, you have been working for the last 20 years. That is what Selman says. So the connections that we all need to be able to propel us to go to the next financial level as we journey to our 10 years. I think that is very important. Then we are looking at the support that you need to caution you from negative effects. 3 years, 5 years, let me tell you, and I can assure you, because I'm going through this every other day. For some of you who may be aware, we began a project called Honey Plus, and there's been a lot of forces that comes, you know, against the project sometimes, and it becomes very encouraging if you have friends that are able to discuss with you, that are able to you can bounce the ideas to them, and they can encourage you to move on. Then it becomes very exciting. If you don't have a support system, then it becomes very hard to make it, especially if your dream is big. If you have a small dream, then there's nothing to worry about. If your dream is big, then you need a very strong support system to be able to caution you in your journey of 10 years. That is very important. And by the way, part of what we've done in Business and Money Online, we have also created your journey to wealth, which is basically, because you know these are very individualized program, and that the process is in place. And what we basically want to do in the journey to wealth, which is a facility available within the Business and Money Online, is where you can now be able to log in yourself and put in your own objectives, and the system will be able to guide you along the way. And I'm sure once it is rolled out in the next 1 or so months, then it will be a great opportunity for people. You don't have to discuss with me. You don't have to talk to Edna. You don't have to talk to anyone in Lan-x Africa. You just log in there and you start your journey. You start your planning. You start your self-appraisal. You start your everything will be automated, and it is available as you continue inside the Business and Money Online. Okay, so the support system could be your family members, they could be your friends, they could be your relatives, they could be your neighbors, you know, whoever this. And I'm saying this because when we started working on financial plans with people, then I discovered they drop it by the second year. Most people drop, and the reason they drop is because momentum is not there. The reason they drop is because they don't have a good support structure that encourages them to continue. The reason they drop is because they don't have an enabling environment, and it's not the nature of people to actually have these kind of things. So it is very critical that we work on what we currently have in terms of resources and looking at the consistency. We look at the skill set that we have. We look at the talents, the giftings that we could be able to utilize. We look at the opportunities that we can be able to take advantage of, and see how we can sweat those opportunities, how we can jump into those opportunities. And then we look at the connections we can get into. And this one, I can assure you that with the right connections, you can always go far. With the right connections, you can always minimize the time. Again, this message I was listening today by Joshua Selman, it talked about, you know, how grace can be able to, there is grace for speed. I loved it. The grace for speed in terms of actualizing dreams. And I said, I need the grace for speed, so that instead of taking 10 years, I can take a shorter time to get that kind of a home that you saw there. And then, of course, the support needed, and there are a number of support systems that we all need in order to be able to get there. But there are other things that we need to worry about. For example, the importance of managing appetite. And I'm not talking about food. I'm basically talking about the appetite to buy consumer things. things that get finished with use. You know, we are prone to making sure that we buy things that don't really help us. And I think these are the threats that come in the 10-year plan. You buy things for show off, um, not really because they are very important, but because you believe these things will position you in a more better place. For example, maybe instead of buying a small car that doesn't use a lot of fuel, you buy a Gasla because you want to make a status that you are hitting it or you are faking it until you make it. Okay. Then there's wasteful spending, buying things that you don't even need yourself. Can you imagine how moronic sometimes we become? We buy things that we imagine we even ask we don't need it. And you wonder, so why are we buying these things? It is so strange. And then sometimes partying and merrymaking and glubbing and all those kind of things that people do, and they waste a lot of their money. And by the way, this partying thing also include having mistresses. I don't know what ladies have mistresses. For men, you know, they waste money because even if you are not paying rent, you end up buying a lot of coffee unnecessarily. You end up buying a lot of lunches for no apparent reason. And I think these are things that are very wasteful and things that we basically need to manage so that we take care of ourselves. Then a more compelling one is the absence of a clarity of a compelling purpose in life. Part of what we need to guard in the journey to 10 years is whether or not we have a very clear, compelling purpose. Because this is one of the areas that we don't know. You know, this small book by Rick Warren, The Purpose Driven Life, is very interesting. Rick Warren, the cover page of that book has a caption that keeps me thinking, what on earth are you here for? What on earth are you here for? That is what Rick Warren asked. And it is very interesting. You know, when you think about it, really, why are you on Earth? Of what value are you bringing to planet Earth? Or of what benefit do you serve in this Earth? Then you discover, I think we need to be able to check whether actually we have a vision that we live by, because these are things that modify whether or not our 10-year plan will work. Whether we have a mission in the first place at a personal level or even at a family level, do understand what on earth you are here for, as I've said, and then whether you have financial goals to go for the mission or vision or to address what on earth you're here for, lack of compelling objectives. So you find you want to succeed, but it is not entrenched in your spirit or in your guts. And when it is not, entrenched, then certainly you will not be so fired up to be able to actualize it, and it becomes a problem. Then absence of a challenging group that you belong. As I said earlier, I think a support system and then the network that you can also have can be able to help you. I discovered for a long time, I was a member of a fellowship that was so heavenly bound. We were discussing missions and crusades and those very many things, and we were never discussing anything to do with investments. We were never discussing anything to do with purchasing of anything. And for a long time, I didn't consider those were not anywhere within my radar, within my mind, because the group I belonged didn't have those as options. Okay, and therefore the kind of people you hang around also matters a lot, because they determine whether you will think in these lines or you will not. Okay, now, so 4 most important things you need, 4 very important things that you require. Number 1, ability to make as much money as you can, utilizing the current money that you have, looking at the skill set and the talents and the giftings that you have, and certainly the opportunities also and the networks that we saw earlier. Then the ability to save as much money as you make, because it is as critical as well to save a lot. And I think we have discussed this in other forums before, because really, you know, trees grow from seeds. Trees grow from seeds. Wealth also grows from savings. And therefore, if you are able to have savings, then certainly you'll be able to grow graciously. Then ability to invest, and investments comes from savings, as much money as you save. So the reason you save, as I've said before, is so that you can be able to invest. Okay. And then lastly, the discipline to keep up the process every month, every year for the entire 10 years. And part of what we really want to do in the business and money conversations and the business and money online engagement is to make sure that those that work with us, like for example, I'm sure by now you are seeing we are upscaling and upskilling ourselves as a company. We are basically taking things a notch higher. We are saying now, instead of just running trainings and leaving everything, now we have created a platform, business and money online, where people can sign up, and we have a number of them already who have signed up. And by the way, I think I saw Edna has posted how you can be able to register, but it is online.bizandmoney.com, and you'll be able to get details on how to go about it. I hope, Edna, you can be able to repost it again, the link to help members who may want to. Then within inside, we have created a facility where we can be able to chat, where we can be able to appraise projects, where we can be able to post opportunities. And as a company, we are researching on them. We are comping through the market. We are determining what opportunities really exist. And then those that come and they want those opportunities, we want to work with them. And then what we are also doing is that we are automating some of the things, some of the plans like what we have here, so that you don't even need to talk to me. You don't need to talk to anybody. You can just be able to walk through it all by yourself and get to the levels that you want without necessarily talking to anyone. Because we are passionate. Africa cannot continue, especially, we are the most spiritual continent so far, and the continent that serves us. It's an oxymoron. So this one I had shared before, earlier, for some of you who may remember, that now when it comes to what you're saving and what you're making, then it becomes a concern, because your age plays in a very fundamental role. For example, if you are in your 40s, then certainly you don't act the same way like when you are in your 20s. If you are already in your 50s, then you must behave in a different way, because your risk appetite changes with age. Then your monthly income also changes with age. Your average savings changes with age. Your investment income, hopefully, should also be changing with age. And then your debt level should also be changing with age. So these are very many variables. So number one, your risk appetite is changing with your age. Your monthly salary hopefully is changing with your age. My expectation is that as you become older, then you attract higher monies because of experience and because of promotions and because of everything that goes on around you. Then your monthly savings also changes. But you can see, I'm saying by the time you get to block number 9, above the age of 63, even if you don't save, your annual investment income is already hitting 7.2 million a year, sorry. And then you are good to go. You don't even need to save anything, but it is a choice. You can actually be able to save if you wish, but you may not. You can just be eating and eating and eating, and it is still okay. And then the debt level is also changing with age. So these are things that affect you, so that as you plan, then you plan knowing that in the next 10 years, by the end of the 10 years, what age will you be? Maybe you are beginning at age 35, so you'll be 45 in 10 years. Maybe you're beginning at age 45, so you'll be at 55, or maybe you're already 50, and therefore you'll be 60. So these are things that we need to be able to work on, and we need to be able to put into place and document them, because they play a fundamental role as we seek. And then it will also inform what aspects of investments are you looking at. By the way, in the company, the business and money services that we provide, we already have 4 categories that we are focusing 100% on. We have financial markets, where we have looking at financial instruments. We are looking at digital investments like the forex trading and those kind of stuff. So all that are lumped up under financial markets, and we have a team of people who are exclusively focused on that, not anything else. Then we have agribusiness. Again, just looking at how you can make money with agriculture. And there is also a team that is looking at that. Then we have real estate, how you can be able to do it. And there are amazing plans on the way in a number of these things. And then finally, we have now business itself, like is traditionally known. And we have also a number of tools. In fact, we have an app that we have developed. Although the app currently is being utilized, we have signed up a 2-year contract with Absa Bank. They want to roll it out for their business customers. So currently it is under review by the bank. It's an app that we created so that it assists people, business people. You can be able to audit yourself. You can be able to check whether you are making the right decisions for your business. You can be able to check, there are 7 parameters that we monitor. We monitor your revenue management. We monitor your financial management. We monitor your customer management. We monitor number 4, your deployment or use of technology. We monitor your employee management, number 5. We monitor your succession planning and management. And then number 7, what else do we monitor? Your strategy, your business strategy. We also monitor your business strategy. And those are 7 audit areas. And each one has several components inside that can be able to assist. Because we know if you must succeed over the next 10 years, then really you need a lot of resources. You need a lot of uh, capability and a lot of support that we believe in a small way, not in a big way. Lan-x Africa is just developing and building muscles and trying to see what more we can be able to do as we over this. So we were very thrilled that Absa Bank thought it was a good thing, and now they have picked it up. They are reviewing it, and once we roll it out, we know for sure we'll very quickly get to almost 20,000 of their business customers, or even 30,000, and then we can roll it out to other institutions as well. Okay, now, so I was just mentioning that to say your 10-year investment plan has very many components, very many variables, very many things to think about, and it is fair that you think about this now. Otherwise, 10 years can just come very quickly, and you will wonder that you didn't think too much about it, neither did you consider that you'll get there. But now you don't have an excuse. And this is another one again, and I end with this, by the way, so that we can have a few Q&As. I realize time is moving very quickly. We are basically looking at over the next 10 years, what are you looking like in terms of your planning and in terms of your management of the money that you have? What do you need to be able to put aside? What do you need to be able to make? What efforts do you need to expend? And where should that effort be? And I want to encourage us, without sounding like marketing the business and money online, there is a lot of resource that we are pumping in there, and we want as many of us to be able to utilize, because this is, by the way, these things are out of experience. We have discovered it is not just easy. They are tough, and if anybody tells you they are simple, it is a lie. Okay, these are tough things, and because they are tough, then it is only fair that we basically look at how to support each other with the discipline and the consistencies that are needed every month. I have shared this before. We basically need smart ways of managing expenses. We need the commitment to invest at least 80% of the savings. And that's why you see here in this column, reinvested value at 80%. And part of the reason is because sometimes you save not so that you invest, but there are other eventualities that come. But the task is to make sure if you really want to score, you pump in 80% of the savings to go into investment, so that you can actualize your dream sooner than later, and you can be able to get there faster. Okay, and you can see the kind of returns also that we are looking at. And I've always said most people save only to consume, and we don't want you to be saving and consuming. In your 10-year plan, we want you to save and invest. And then the passion, we have put here a return of 12%, which is very modest. And the reason why it is very modest, if you take the inflation rate, which is averaging 6%, I know sometimes it goes to 4%, but for a long time it averages 6%, and you load a 4% margin so that you are looking at 10%, then that 4% margin is very significant. But what we've done, we've doubled it, and we are saying an average return of 12% should be very good. Now, if you get 15%, that is a gift. If you get 20 and anything above 20, you need to think twice in your planning. You need to think twice. You may not want to be so greedy because again, when you want to look at exorbitant, part of the reasons Kenyans suffer is because of being greedy. You know, there is a verse in Proverbs that says, put a knife in your throat if you are given to gluttony. And we don't want people to put knives on their throats. But yes, that is a strategy. In order to manage your appetite, it is good to be able to do that. Okay, so allow me just to end there so that we can maybe engage, and I will be handing over to Monica. Not Monica, sorry, I've just seen a message by somebody called Monica asking for the details on how to enter this meeting, which is ending. Edna, so that Edna can be able to help us picking up from there, and then later on maybe you can refer back to me. So thank you so much, Edna. You can now pick up from there.
Thank you, Mr. Tanki, and that was very insightful, and I'm sure the participants could say the same. This is now our question and answer session. We acknowledge that an investment plan looks very different for different people. Every individual has, their own idea of what the 10 years would look like. So at a personal level, you can now ask Mr. Tanki anything that you want clarified, and we can proceed from there. So feel free to unmute yourself and speak out. In case you want to write it in the chat section, I can voice it. So participants, questions, please. Anyone can go ahead. Mr. Tanki Kerubo.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Kerubo. Please go ahead.
I was just, okay, thank you. Thank you for the session, Mr. Tanki. It's been very informative and the time has really flown. I still feel like there's a lot more you could share. Nonetheless, I was just looking at the figures that you put in form of the two tables, and the numbers look quite compelling. And I look at it and I'm like, yes, I should do this. But a question that always comes to mind is the how. How, the how or where can one, invest to get such returns and consistency in the returns if you look at the tables that you have shown. The second question that I had is also very linked to the first one, where you're saying that the minimum advisable return that you recommend, or the minimum return that you recommend is 12%. Just looking at the investments that are more often than not within reach for common mwananchi, is 12% seems quite high. Where do we get this 12% returns? Because most of us, as you said, we need money to make money. So with excess of the little money, 12% seems high. Thank you.
Kerubo, you are very right. If you look at, for example, what I said about 12%, inflation is 6%. So really, you don't want to be investing in anywhere less than 10%. Unfortunately, there are a number of instruments that are doing less than 10%, including treasury bills, which are below 10%. But you want to see a margin of about 4%. I know occasionally the inflation drops, like recently, it actually dropped to way below 5%. But that is just for a very short time. When you look at average, year-on-year average, then in Kenya we are talking about an average of 6%, and then add 4%. So we are basically saying, at the very least, you need an investment with a return of 10%. But if you focus on looking for 12%, and 12% is very doable. Most of you are in business. From the earlier introduction and what we discussed earlier from the people who spoke. And even in business, you need to be able to ensure your business, and this cumulatively by the end of the year, cumulatively your business should be able to do way above 12%. It doesn't matter what business you do, it should be able to do and deliver way above 12%. Whether it is in agribusiness, and by the way, even for agriculture, even if things go south, like Chebet said earlier, that when timing is not in your favor, when the weather is not in your favor, at least you need to be able to recoup what you put in. But I know that occasionally, because I've also tried, occasionally you lose everything. But the focus, and we need to be able to do smart farming, do smart business, so that at the end of the day, we can at least make the lowest minimum when we say we have not succeeded. Then in terms of the how, that is why now you need to be a member of the Business and Money Online. The how is captured there, and there is a whole team of people who are waiting to assist you, Kerubo. And I have seen Edna. Edna has already posted the email address, money@lanxafrica.co.ke. You drop in an email there, we will pick it up immediately. And you don't have to suffer. We are here and we want to work with you. We want to support you. We want to make sure that you reach, your God-given position, if you desire and if you want to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me ask another quick one. With regards to ideally the topic of the day, which was a 10-year investment or financial plan. I know you have highlighted the things that are necessary for us to keep in mind as we are going about putting the plan together, the vision, the goals, etc., etc. How can I put this? So are the resources to support in the financial planning also available? So clearly it's clear that I haven't joined yet Business and Money, but I will. But are the resources to support in the planning process also under the Business and Money platform?
The resources and by the way, we have even for the walking through the investment journey, we also have that. There is a table. If somebody wants to actually now do the plan, there is a table that we can send to you that you begin capturing what you already have, your assets, your objectives, and we do calculations of your risk index. We do a number of, there is a table that we use in the planning so that we can be able to help you know which route you need to be able to go. And then the resources we explore, because most of the things you have some money somewhere, you have skills, you have a job, you have talents, So we look at all those things and say, how can we harness what you already have to help you get to where you want to go? Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Asante Kiruba. Edna?
Would anyone else like to ask a question directly?
Good evening.
Good evening, Jerry.
This is Jerry there. First of all, I want to appreciate for the information that has been given unto us. We know it is costly, but it has been given freely to us. Thank you, Mr. Tanke. And my question goes straight to this question. Yes, we have talked of, when you talk of numbers, you start feeling, yes, you need to go to and do mathematics for the numbers. This 12%, but look at our business ideas of the government boards and treasury bills. Right now, they are way below 12%. So where are we? Where else? Where else? Because if treasury bills and boards are down, where else are we putting this money? Where else are we going to invest?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerioth. When you do a 10-year plan, then certainly you may need to develop a strategy that will deliver that. I know a lot of people always will want to say, so now where do I jump into? By the way, there are very many opportunities, and that's why we always insist. If you go to the business and money online, we have posted a number of them. Some of these opportunities that can give you 12% on average. And I've said, don't look at treasury bills because they are low. Uh, T-bonds are okay for now because they are not far from the 12%. Actually, they are in the neighborhood of 12, but T-bills are way below 10%. But there are a host of so many other investment instruments that you can be able to get into without looking at the traditional ones. And you will be able to make money. Number two, when you look at a journey of 10 years, then you are saying that in 2020, the returns certainly are very low in 2020, but that also presents you with a grand opportunity, because if you can now make some of those smart investments in 2020, then 2021, when Corona is no longer there and people are back to life, and 2022 and 2023, all the way to 2025, 2026, then you can be in a very good growth trajectory. I think the challenge a lot of times is that we just look at now, and now things are thick, and because things are thick now, we make conclusions that we cannot move, and then we make long-term decisions based on short-term observations, and then we now cripple our way of investing. And therefore, Cheriot, to close, I think let's work together this journey. We will want to understand what you do, what plans you have, and how we may be able to assist you to actualize it, because it is doable.
Mr. Tanki, Caroline Kitani says, thanks for the session. It was very informative. Thank you, Caroline, for attending. Daniel Chebet says, someone said that surviving this 2020 COVID is a profit in itself. Doesn't such situations affect the 10-year plan or projections?
Very true. I've had a lot of that statement, that the mission for 2020 is to survive, and surviving is profitability by itself. Now, when you do a 10-year plan, you factor in dynamics of life. And the dynamics of life is that there are seasons. For example, in 2022, we know in this country, when there are elections, then things are not very good. So the markets are not good. Performance of the market goes down in in every election year. So we already know that. So over a 10-year period, we basically need to know how many elections will we have, and then we factor in that. Then number two, for Chebet, who is actually also in agribusiness, every 4 years in this country there is drought every 4 years. So we need to know when was the last drought, and then we calculate when will the next one be, and then we project that in a period of 10 years we could be having a drought season of either 2 or 3. Then we include that, so that when you do a plan, you do a smart plan, because we have knowledge, we have observations of the past. We do a worst case scenario, a normal case scenario, and a best case scenario, and that should be able to deliver for us the results that we are looking for. You don't want to assume that there won't be challenges, so you factor in the challenges. You don't want also to assume that everything will be new, so you factor that accordingly. Thanks, Edna.
Yes, Patricia says, maybe as we close, would investing in shares be part of a 10-year investment program?
Absolutely, why not? Again, today we were not looking at specifics in terms of where we need to invest, but to Patricia, I completely agree. I mean, if you want to look at shares, then yeah, you can be able to say, I want to build a portfolio of through putting money in the Nairobi Securities Exchange or other exchanges around the world, and this is how much I want to be able to grow, and I want to be able to put, and how much I would want it to grow, and that is very doable.
Thank you, Mr. Tanki. Would you be having closing remarks as we conclude?
Oh, thanks, Kerubo. Kerubo is saying registration is pretty simple. I have been able to register to Business and Money. Thank you so much. That was very quick, Kerubo. We appreciate that. So in closing, we basically want to see how much we can be able to support each other to get here. There are a lot of information that are available. For example, in the next one, on the first Saturday of November, we will be having a panel discussion, and some of the guys we are putting in place are very seasoned guys in the market, who we want them to guide us and really challenge us, and even tell us what they have been able to do and how they were able to surmount some of the challenges that we are discussing. So be on the lookout. I think by 1 week to the first Saturday, we will be sharing a lot of that information so that people can take advantage of it in good time. Otherwise, I want to thank all of you, and I want to appreciate everyone for your participation. And I pray that God will bless you and multiply His grace over your life as you continue to look at your 10-year plan. Let's begin. We're here for you. Thank you so much, Edna.
Thank you, Mr. Tanki. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge. Thank you for sharing your time as well. We sincerely appreciate you. Participants, thank you so much for giving us your time today for this business and money conversation. We know that you may have so many questions you want to ask, but even as you sign up to Business and Money online, because you're going to do that right after this, I believe, as you do that, please also feel free to reach out to us at money@lanxafrica.co.ke or to Mr. Tanki directly, dtanki@lanxafrica.co.ke, and we'll be able to help you with whatever support you may need through your investment journey. So I'd like us to close at this point. Our time is a bit spent. So I'd like us to say a prayer. I'd like us to say a prayer even as we conclude. Allow me to ask one of us to close for us. I'm seeing Carol Sangalo. Are you there? Would you like to say a prayer for us as we close? Carol? Okay. Caroline Kiptanui. Would you like to say a prayer for us?
You can ask Doris.
Yes, okay. Doris, please close for us. Okay, then in that case, I will say a prayer as we conclude. Shall we pray? Father, we exalt your name. We bless you. Thank you for this session we have had, Lord. Thank you for all the wisdom that Mr. Tanki has disposed on us, everlasting God. And we pray, Lord, that you would continue to refresh him. Pray for all the participants that have been present, and even as they walk through this investment journey, that, Lord, you will grant us the wisdom we need in order to make money, because that is your desire for us. We exalt you. We bless you, Lord. Even as we live, Lord, would you be with us? Let your peace rest upon us, everlasting Father. We exalt you. We honor you. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, participants. We are free to leave at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.